All right, let's get into some Star Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars.
um, really enjoying this run. Um,
Yep.
I think what I like about it most is it's not like Bounty Hunters. Like I literally hold all my Star Wars books that I read to Bounty Hunters, and in that book, you literally needed an encyclopedia to understand what the hell was going on in it. And in this one, we have a coworker that was like, "Explain to me," or he said, "What did he say?" He said, "Describe or review this book in 2 words, or current." Like,
Yeah.
and for me,
So dumb.
Mark, if you're watching, sorry, but for
Oh,
me,
that's so dumb. So dumb.
for me, the way I would, if I were to critique the book that way, it would be perfectly balanced. You've got humor, you've got history, you've got establishing the story, and I think it just has a little bit of something for everybody. Like you don't have to be overly knowledgeable about Star Wars to understand this book, but you also can, right? You also can be reading the
Yes.
other material that's connected to this comic book and be even more incited into what's going on in the book. And I'm going to let you describe or review what's going on in the book, but I'll just say this: what I love the most about this book is showing the vulnerability of Jedi. Before this comic, and I'm more speaking to the movies rather than the books, we kind of look at Jedi as these like mystic, unbeatable knights, right? That are flawless. And in this book, it just, to me, Jedi are presented with weakness and with misjudgments and with hesitancy. And I think that's what I like the most. Like, I don't know the name of the character that's on the front, but Skier. Like, I just like the fact that in this book, Jedi are not this unfallible character. They've got flaws. They deal with their demons, and it's not just like, oh, I'm already a Jedi, so I don't deal with that shit. No, like everybody's dealing with it. So, and to me, that's why I like this series. So,
Yes, I completely agree. So the one thing about this particular comic that I really enjoyed too is to piggyback what you were saying with Bounty Hunters, but like the pacing is really good. Bounty Hunters, I felt like I wasn't really worried about understanding like who everyone was or what places we were at. I'm not saying I did understand those things because I didn't. But the thing I hated most about it was that it just felt like it was like so fast. Like you couldn't possibly keep like. I understand it's a comic book. You're reading it. You can put your own pace, but it's like it was just go 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 the entire time, and it wasn't. There's very little structural dialogue. It I don't know. It just it felt so fast. Whereas this, I feel like really does a great job of pacing. It speeds up when it needs to. It slows down when it needs to. It holds those subtle moments of suspense. So I think that's why this comic so far, we're only 2 issues in, but I think that's what it's doing really well.
no, for sure.
I also am really interested. I want to talk more about the novel tie-in when we get to the next book. But I am really excited again to see more tie-ins to the novel, and just seeing that this is a overall living and cohesive continuity. It seems like everything is actually being thought out and planned, which is really nice. Everyone's on the same page and not just throwing shit at a wall and then saying, hey, director guy, you do some shit. No, now you do some shit. No, that shit was bad. You do shit again. And it's just like, what?
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to see some of the events that are in the book, such as Skier losing his arm, have ramifications in the comic book. Yet at the same time, you don't need to have read that book to understand Skier's plight. You just did a amazing, explanation of exactly what's going on with Skier, and you haven't touched the book.
Yeah.
So like you're not missing out on anything. If anything, it's just like, hey, you want more rich history? Read the book. If
Right.
you're just cool with the comics, chill with the comics. You won't
Yeah,
miss out.
I think that's the beauty of this is like the fact that now, I mean, I knew that there was a book, but now that like I'm 2 issues in and then you're talking about it, I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to go get the book. Like that is just very tactful writing to get to the point where like, you know what? I want to dive deeper, just like our X books. And I'm not saying like this week's X books, but like in general, X books make you want to dive deeper into the lore of what you're reading. And so like kudos to Marvel, kudos to Star Wars for creating multiple mediums for you to get involved into what's going on. So like if you're only reading the book and then you're like, oh, there's a comic, well, maybe I should pick that up just to see how that plays out even more. And I'll ask you this. So is the group that they fight in this book that they reveal in this book the Nil or Nai?
Are you talking about the one person that they fight on the ship that Skier fights?
Yeah.
Yeah, then I don't know how to say it either. The Nihil or Nihil. It's Nihil. I'm not sure what the correct pronunciation is, but yes, it is assumed that is who that is, or that he is a member, or that person is a member of the Nihil.
Yeah, I want more of them. That was cool when they popped up. Like,
it's dope. Funny you should mention more of them.
Okay. So let's just go right into the next book. Nate picked this up. I didn't because I have a budget. So lay it on us.
So this is our last book of the week, and so by default, you now know that this is my pick of the week.
Pick of the week. Okay.
So IDW has been releasing some Star Wars adventure books for a few years now.
Yep.
And I always kind of passed up on them just because they're marketed as being more towards for children.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just like, I'm not a child, and that's not really that interested.
I'm not a child.
Wait. So am I to understand there's a Jedi called Skeeter? No, that would be better. His name is Skier, and I will put it here in the chat for you because the spelling is quite funny. His name is Skier. He's Tendoshan. Is that how you say it? Tenoshan or Tendoshan?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes. So they have double consonants often in their names. That's why I kind of avoided those books. However, because I enjoyed, I'm not finished with the novel yet, but I'm really enjoying it. I enjoyed that first issue of High Republic, and I was just like, need to have the second issue, another. Like, I want more. I want more High Republic.
Yeah.
Stuff is awesome. So I picked it up, and right away, literally the first page, I was hooked. I was like, yep, this was the best decision I made this week. Like, this is exactly what I needed.
Not those two books behind you? That's not your best? Those aren't your best decision?
Okay, those are, but...
okay, sorry. Sorry.
So, a really quick... I need to give you like a really quick snippet of the novel for you to be able to understand my excitement.
Let's do it.
There is an event in the novel, and it's very generalized. It's not a spoiler. It's an event called the Great Disaster. It's been referred to in the other two High Republic comics as well. Basically what happens is a ship in hyperspace, something happens to it, and it starts to fall apart. It breaks up into a million pieces. And those pieces fall out of hyperspace and into real space. And they're basically flying at the speed of light. Like, almost as fast as you possibly can. They're entire chunks of a ship. Some of them are this big, and some of them are, hundreds of yards long. And there's no way to tell when they're going to appear because they just come ripping out of the hyperstream. And sometimes they just go flying out into space and hit nothing. And sometimes they're aimed directly for planets, which is exactly what we see at the very first issue. And I think this is a great example, so I'm just going to show the panel, see if you can see that or not.
Yeah.
See that? Yeah.
Yeah.
And they just appear out of nowhere. And you look up and you're like, shit, that's coming right for me. We got to evacuate.
Abba dead.
And so, also, this is totally on a personal note, but one of my favorite alien races in Star Wars is the Dugs. That's what they're called. Do you remember Sebulba from Episode 1?
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I love those guys.
Like the monkey horse-looking guy.
Yes, where they walk on their hands and their back feet are actually in the air as they walk, and they walk on their hands like this.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just really like them. I think they're funny. There's one of those on the first page.
You have a Doug fetish, don't you?
Yeah, that's what it is. So basically, the premise of this story is, and you might get a little frustrated by this, which I understand, but the premise of this is a ship full of young Padawan trainees are en route to basically like a field trip with two Jedi Masters, one of them being Yoda. And while they are flying through a particular star system, sorry, my camera's delayed, so I just now saw that.
You're fine.
And so while they're flying through the star system, they get an SOS alert essentially of one of these cities that's got parts raining down on their planet. They're like, God, you got to come save us.
Yep.
And so this group of Padawans, this entire ship full of Padawans and Yoda and this other guy, I don't remember his name, but they land on the planet and start helping everybody. But the main narrative is focused around two young girls, one a young Padawan and her sort of trying to find her place, and the other one a young alien girl from that planet who basically is giving you a quick narrative of the planet. She says, I used to always get these feelings of like a stirring, like something calling my name. And the elders say it's the Force, and they say that we're not allowed. We have to ignore the Force at all costs. That is, there are these people called Jedi, and they use it, but we aren't the Jedi, and you can't use it, and you gotta. Sorry, I just read Matt's comment.
Says, yeah,
the Dugs are my favorite alien race at work too. No,
we have
Dugs like DUG. Anyway, and it's their stories are very being purposely mirrored throughout the issue. But you can tell that this girl is she's definitely Force sensitive. Like there's a lot going on there, even though she's not trained. And so while the parts are raining down on the planet, all of a sudden this really crazy looking spider ship comes and lands as well. And out pop a bunch of Neil or Nihil or whatever. And they were in the area too, and there's a guy there that they want to make sure he's not going to die. It's like the main elder of the city on this planet. And right as they're trying to get him, he's like, no, please help me save some of my young children. Let them come with us. And they're like, nope, we're just here for you. Everyone else, welcome to Armageddon is I think what one of the guys says.
Shit.
And just at that same time, the young Padawan girl that we've been getting narrated from walks up and is like, hey guys, sorry, but we're gonna have to take your ship so we can save some people. And they're like, yeah, no way. And she's like, actually, we weren't asking. And so they start fighting, and at one point a big giant piece is almost about to smash everybody, and the young alien girl who has no formal training is just like, no, and she stops the piece from smashing them. Or she slows it down, and it's almost still going to smash them, and then all the Padawans together get behind her and they help push it away. It's not
teamwork.
Like she's super trained or anything. Yeah. But while they're doing that, and while they keep saving, basically all the Padawans and the Nihil from being smashed by this piece, the Nihil have now moved into formation to completely surround all the Padawans, and they're like, well, you are in your, you're in the trap now, let's let's kill him or something like that. So that's it. That's the issue. But it was it was a fun issue. It, again, it was a great mixture of action, of world building. It had things that were tied into the books again. That if you had read the books, you're getting a little extra. If you hadn't, no big deal. Like you don't need to know that little back history of the Great Disaster. It tells you a little bit in the front about like what's happening.
Right.
But it's just that much richer having that knowledge. However, the one thing, and this is just an extra, if this is your thing, it's very hard to tell, but I'm pretty sure that we have the first cameo appearance of Martian Rowe, who is the leader of the Nihil. He's the one that shouts "kill them all," and it looks a lot like him, or the way he's described in the books.
Interesting.
So, could have a key here as well.
Yeah, I probably can't get my hands on it. So,
the fact that it wasn't, honestly, like I don't even understand how this is geared towards kids, because it actually had more action in it than
the actual title.
That one maybe was technically a little violent since Skier got upset and kept hacking at the dead body.
Yeah.
But this one had more lightsabers in it and more fighting and more, blaster bolts and it exceeded my expectations by landslide. And just after having these two issues and reading like 3 or 4 chapters all yesterday, all back to back to back.
Yeah,
I'm just so excited about this era of Star Wars.
Just a culminated. That's pretty dope. All right, well, that sounds awesome. I guess I need to go to Ron's Star tomorrow and pick it up if he still has one. Probably doesn't.
Mm-hmm.